During Sunday dinner, my son-in-law Kevin laughed loudly. "What's it like being old and useless?" Everyone giggled except me. I smiled sweetly and asked, "What's it like knowing this useless old lady won't be buying your groceries anymore?" When I said those words, Kevin's smile disappeared completely. His face turned white like paper. The happy dinner table became very quiet and scary. You won't believe what happened next. I'll tell you everything. First, let me thank you for watching Grandma Stories. Please subscribe and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out goes to Restina Harris, from Birmingham, Alabama. Thank you for being part of our family. Now, let me tell you everything. My daughter Lisa had invited everyone over to celebrate Kevin's new job as a truck driver. Kevin was drinking fancy juice from a pretty glass. "Being retired must be so boring," he said with a mean smile. "No work to do, no important things to finish, just sitting around all day." I put my spoon down slowly. The delicious soup was getting cold in my bowl. Around the big wooden table that I had bought for Lisa last year, candles made dancing shadows on the walls. My daughter had cooked a wonderful meal to celebrate Kevin's promotion to head driver at the shipping company. "Retirement has nice moments," I said quietly, watching him drink more of the grape juice I had brought as a congratulations gift. Kevin leaned back in his chair like a king on his throne. He liked to sit at the head of the table during family dinners now. "I mean, you had an okay job as a nurse, but that was 30 years ago. Things are different now. Everything is computers and fast thinking. You need a young brain to really win at life." Lisa moved uncomfortably next to me. Her pretty necklace that I gave her for her birthday caught the candlelight. "Mom had a wonderful job helping sick people," Lisa said softly. "She saved many lives at the hospital." Sure, Kevin said, waving his hand like he was shooing away a fly. "But honestly, when was the last time you actually did something important? Made something happen?" My little granddaughter Jenny, only 8 years old, looked up from her chicken nuggets. "Grandma built me a dollhouse last month with her own hands." Kevin patted her head like she was a puppy. "That's sweet, honey. But Grandma needs to understand that real men take care of their families with hard work and money. Not everyone can just relax and do nothing while others do all the heavy lifting." The quiet lasted too long and felt uncomfortable. Lisa laughed nervously to fill the silence. "Maybe we should talk about something else. Jenny, tell Grandma about your spelling test." But Kevin wasn't done talking. His new job promotion had made him feel very important, and the grape juice made him brave. "Actually, I've been thinking. Now that I'm making good money, maybe it's time everyone started doing their fair share of the work around here." I knew exactly what he meant by those words. 12 years of paying for things they couldn't buy themselves. 12 years of watching him spend money like it grew on trees while I quietly paid for the things they really needed. "Take Lisa, for example," he continued, pointing at my daughter. "She's been home with the kids for so long living off, well, let's call it family help. Maybe it's time she got a real job in the real world." Lisa's face became very pale. She knew, just like I did, that their nice life was only possible because of my help. The pretty school uniforms hanging by the door, Kevin's truck payments, the new kitchen they had built last summer. All impossible without my money helping them. My 10-year-old grandson Bobby felt the tension in the air. "Are we in trouble, Dad?" he asked with worry in his voice. "No, son. But it's important to know the difference between people who earn their money and people who just take handouts from others," Kevin said, looking straight at me with mean eyes. The insult hung in the air like a bad smell. Lisa reached for her juice glass with shaking hands. The children looked at each other with scared eyes. Kevin leaned forward, feeling brave because he thought I was too polite to fight back. "I don't want to be mean, but someone needs to ask the hard questions. When was the last time you did something that mattered? When did you last feel proud of earning your own way instead of just existing on the sidelines?" He stopped talking to enjoy what he thought was his big moment of victory. "How does it feel to be a loser?" The question hit me like a slap in the face. Lisa gasped loudly. Bobby's fork fell onto his plate with a crash. Jenny started to cry quietly. But I didn't get upset. Instead, I took a slow sip of water, put the glass down carefully, and looked Kevin right in his eyes. "How does it feel?" I said in a calm, clear voice. "To know this loser won't be paying your bills anymore?" The color left Kevin's face faster than water going down a drain. Lisa's hand flew to cover her mouth in shock. The children stared with confusion as their father's happy, mean smile turned into panic and fear. I kept eating my dinner, cutting each piece of meat very slowly and carefully, while the table sat in complete silence. Outside, it was getting dark in our neighborhood, and I could hear a dog barking far away. After what felt like forever, I wiped my mouth with a cloth napkin, stood up from my chair, and kissed Jenny and Bobby goodbye. "Thank you for dinner, Lisa. The food was delicious." I walked to the front door, took my coat from the closet, and stepped into the cool evening air, leaving behind a table full of people who were finally starting to understand what 12 years of quiet kindness had really meant to their lives. The 15-minute drive home was very quiet. My hands stayed steady on the steering wheel even though my heart was beating fast. I pulled into my garage and the automatic light turned on, making long shadows on my front steps. Inside my house, I hung my coat in the hallway and walked straight to my office. The room smelled like old books and furniture cleaner. I turned on my desk lamp, and the warm yellow light showed 12 years of carefully organized file folders. As a retired nurse, I had kept every receipt, every bank paper, every check stub. Time to see exactly what my useless life had cost me. I opened the first drawer marked 2012 to 2015. The folders were organized by colors: blue for house payments, green for car loans, yellow for school costs, red for doctor bills. My husband Robert had died in late 2011, and by January 2012, Lisa was already having money problems. The first house payment help was $1,900 in February, another $1,900 in March, then the same amount every month after. I spread the papers across my wooden desk under the lamplight. $1,900 every month for 144 months. My calculator showed $273,600 just for house payment help. Next came the car payments. Kevin's truck lease and Lisa's van loan cost $1,400 monthly for 6 years. Another $100,800 in car help. The numbers kept growing bigger and bigger. Each folder showed another way I had been generous that I had forgotten about. Private school bills filled a whole drawer. Bobby's education from 1st grade through 5th grade. Jenny's school from preschool through 3rd grade. Fancy schools with swimming pools and computer classes. $18,000 every year, sometimes more for summer camps and after-school activities. 11 years of school costs totaled $198,000. Health insurance payments when Kevin was between jobs, dentist visits for the children, emergency hospital trips, Lisa's counseling sessions after she felt sad and worried 2 years ago. Each envelope contained hundreds of payment slips, insurance forms, medical bills I had quietly paid. $6,000 every year for 12 years equaled $72,000 in medical help. I found vacation receipts hidden behind insurance papers. Disney World in 2017, beach trips in 2019, mountain cabin rentals for skiing. Christmas presents, emergency car fixes, the money for Lisa's kitchen renovation. Another $35,000 in extra help. The final total made me sit back in my comfortable chair and take a deep breath. $679,400. Almost $700,000. For the first time since Robert's funeral, I felt the full weight of the promise I had made beside his hospital bed. "Don't worry about Lisa," I had whispered to my dying husband. "I'll make sure she and the children are safe and happy." I remembered Lisa's tears at the funeral. Her worry about the house payments she and Kevin couldn't afford by themselves. How grateful she had been then, calling me every week to say thank you, bringing homemade cookies, visiting with the grandchildren every Sunday. When did the thank you calls stop? When did my help become something they expected instead of something they appreciated? I took out my personal bank statements, the ones showing my own sacrifices. The smaller savings account because I had stopped putting money away for myself. The tiny 2-bedroom house instead of the bigger place by the lake that I had wanted. The 12-year-old car in my garage while Kevin drove fancy trucks. The vacation brochures I had collected but never used because Lisa always needed money for something. The hobby classes I had given up. The lady friends from church who stopped inviting me to lunch because I was always helping my family instead. I had given them almost $700,000 and 12 years of my own dreams. At 9:30 in the evening, I reached for my phone and the list of bank customer service numbers. Tomorrow would bring interesting phone calls to automatic payment departments. Monday morning my coffee tasted different. Stronger somehow. I sat at my kitchen table watching little birds fight over breadcrumbs outside my window, then went back to my office where neat piles of papers waited like soldiers ready for battle. First National Bank answered after 3 rings. Customer service, this is Maria. How can I help you today? I said, I need to stop automatic payments from checking account number 98765432. My voice sounded calm and strong, just like it had during my 30 years of helping sick people at the hospital. Can you give me the last 4 numbers of your social security number to verify your identity? The process took 10 minutes. Maria was very helpful and professional, and she had no idea she was taking apart 12 years of financial help with each button she pressed on her computer. Those payments are now cancelled, Mrs. Johnson. Is there anything else I can help you with today? That's everything. Thank you very much. I put a check mark next to house payment help. $1,900 per month. Mountain State Insurance needed me to talk to a supervisor. The truck lease payment cancellation required 3 different people to help me. Each phone call was the same. Polite questions to make sure I was really me. Quick computer work, confirmation numbers that I wrote down carefully in my notebook. By 10:15 in the morning, I had crossed off 6 items from my list. My phone rang at 10:45. Mom! Lisa's voice sounded confused but not scared yet. Something strange happened with our house payment. The bank called saying there wasn't enough money in our account. But that doesn't make sense because you thought I would keep paying forever? I finished her sentence. Silence filled the phone line like thick fog. What do you mean? Her voice got higher and more worried. Exactly what I said last night at dinner. I'm no longer paying your bills. But Mom, you can't just stop. The house payment, the insurance, Bobby's school tuition. All stopped as of this morning. I could hear her breathing getting faster and more scared. This isn't funny. We could lose our house. Then you and Kevin will need to figure out how to pay for it yourselves. The phone line went quiet. My notebook showed 4 more phone calls to make. The electric company was very quick to help. The gas company asked fewer questions than I expected. Each confirmation number went into my notebook with careful handwriting. Lisa called back at 11:20. Her voice was now tight with real fear. Mom, please. I don't understand what's happening. The school called, the insurance company called, even the electric company called. They're all saying our payments were declined. Because I cancelled the automatic payments from my bank accounts. Your accounts? The question came out as a whisper. Did you think money just appeared magically to pay your bills, Lisa? Another long silence then. But we never asked you to. You never asked because you never had to. I just did it. We can't afford. She stopped talking. Yes, I said. That's exactly the point. At 11:28 my phone rang again. This time Kevin's voice came through, trying to sound like he was in charge. Listen here, you can't destroy our family just because your feelings got hurt at dinner. I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply stopping my money help. You can't ruin our children's lives because you got mad about some dinner conversation. I'm not ruining anything. I'm just no longer paying your bills. You wanted to know how it feels to be a loser. Now you can figure out your own money problems. His silence lasted longer than Lisa's had. The final call on my list was to my bank advisor. Tuesday morning, we would talk about putting all that monthly payment money into my own retirement savings account that I had ignored for 12 years. Outside my window, The little birds had found more breadcrumbs to fight over. At 12:15 in the afternoon, I heard the familiar sound of Kevin's truck pulling into my driveway with squealing brakes. Through my living room window, I watched him jump out of the truck looking very angry, while Lisa got out of the passenger seat holding her purse tightly like it could protect her. They walked up my front sidewalk like soldiers marching to battle. I opened my front door before they could knock. "We need to talk right now," Kevin said, pushing past me without being invited in. Lisa followed behind him with red, swollen eyes from crying. "Please come in," I said to their backs, even though they were already inside. Kevin stood in the middle of my living room like he owned the place. "This silly temper tantrum of yours ends today. You will call those banks right now and put back every single payment." "No, I will not." His face turned bright red with anger. "You can't just cut us off without warning. There are rules about this. Legal contracts. Show me the contract where I promise to pay your bills forever." Lisa stepped closer, her voice shaking like a leaf in the wind. "Mom, please think about what Dad would want. Remember what you promised at his funeral." Mentioning Robert felt like a punch in my stomach. But I had expected her to say this. "I promise to help you become stable and independent. 12 years and almost $700,000 later, you're less stable than when we started." $700,000. Lisa's whisper could barely be heard across the room. I walked to my desk and got my calculator and notebook. $679,400. House payments, car payments, insurance, school tuition, medical bills, vacations, emergency repairs. Should I read you the list by categories? Kevin's angry confidence disappeared for exactly 4 seconds. Then he said, "That's impossible. We never asked for that much money. You never asked for anything. You just expected it." Lisa fell onto my couch, her face as white as fresh snow. "But the children. Bobby's baseball team, Jenny's art classes. Those will continue. But I'll pay the school and activity places directly from now on. No more money going through you and Kevin. You can't split up our family like that." Kevin shouted. "Families are supposed to stick together. Families require kindness and respect. When was the last time either of you said thank you for anything I've done?" The question hung in the air like a bad smell that wouldn't go away. Lisa's tears started slowly, then turned into the loud, desperate crying I remembered from when she was a teenager. "I didn't know it was so much money. I thought you wanted to help us. I thought it made you happy. It did make me happy until you stopped being grateful and started demanding more." Kevin paced around my carpet like a trapped animal. "Fine. You want us to say thank you. Thank you. Now put back the payments. Being grateful doesn't work backwards, Kevin." His pacing stopped suddenly. For the first time since coming into my house, he looked truly scared instead of just angry. "What exactly do you want from us?" "I want you to learn how to live on the money you actually earn. I want my grandchildren to see their parents working for what they have instead of expecting handouts from grandma. I want to be treated like a mother and grandmother, not like a walking ATM machine." Lisa looked up through her tears. "What if we can't do it? What if we lose everything we have? Then you'll learn what being a real loser actually feels like." The silence lasted so long that even the afternoon shadows seemed to hold their breath. Kevin straightened his shoulders, trying to look important again. "We'll see about this. There are lawyers who help with elder financial abuse cases." I almost smiled at his threat. "Please call them. I would love to explain how I've been financially abused for 12 years. They left my house without saying another word. Kevin's truck engine roared to life louder than necessary. I stood at my window watching them drive away down the street, and I noticed my hands were shaking like leaves. Silence filled my house like water flooding a broken basement. I sat down in my favorite armchair, the one Robert had given me for our 15th wedding anniversary, and stared at the wedding photo on my fireplace mantel. Lisa's beautiful smile, Kevin's humble appearance, Robert's proud face next to mine. That photo was from 2010. Kevin worked at a small delivery company then, drove an 8-year-old Toyota, and called me ma'am with real respect. "Mrs. Johnson," he had said during our first private conversation, "I want you to know I'll take great care of Lisa. I may not have much money now, but I'm working hard to build something good enough for your daughter." The humble way he spoke had seemed genuine. I had believed every word he said. 1 year later, Robert was gone. Heart attack took him in 2 terrible months, leaving Lisa heartbroken and Kevin struggling to manage their small house payment on his beginning salary. The 2012 recession had just started, and his company was firing people. At Robert's funeral, Lisa collapsed against my chest crying, "Mom, I don't know how we'll survive. Kevin's job isn't safe. The house payments are too big for us." "Don't worry," I had whispered while holding my crying daughter. "I'll help until you get back on your feet. Until you get back on your feet. Not forever." Those first years, Kevin's gratitude was overwhelming. Handwritten thank you cards every month. Weekend visits where he would fix my broken fence or plant flowers in my garden. Lisa called 3 times each week just to check on me, bringing the grandchildren for Sunday lunch. "Mom, you're literally saving our family," she would say with tears of happiness in her eyes. "We'll pay you back when Kevin gets promoted." The first house payment was $1,900. "Just for 4 months," Kevin promised, "until I get a better position." The car loan help was $350 monthly. "Just until we build some savings." Bobby's private school tuition was $1,500 monthly. Just for elementary school to give him a strong start. Each just until became permanent. Each temporary help became expected. By 2015, the thank you cards had stopped coming. Kevin's weekend visits became rare appearances where he would drink my lemonade and complain about his supervisor. Lisa's grateful calls became monthly requests for additional money. "Mom, can you cover Jenny's dance lessons? It's only $150 a month." "Mom, the kids need new tablets for school." "Mom, our vacation rental got cancelled. Can you help us find a different place?" The word please disappeared first, then thank you. Finally, even can you became you need to. By 2019, Kevin had stopped acknowledging my help completely. At neighborhood cookouts, he would brag about his house improvements, his children's fancy education, his successful family life. When neighbors complimented his new truck, he would beam with pride about his smart money management. Lisa began choosing him over me. When I gently suggested they try paying some bills themselves, she would respond with irritation. "Mom, you don't understand modern family pressure. Kevin works so hard at his job. The children have their routines established. You can't just change everything because you're feeling unappreciated." Unappreciated. That word felt like a slap across my face. Last Christmas, neither of them said thank you for anything. Kevin gave a toast about his hard work providing for his family. Lisa posted pictures on Facebook of their expensive Christmas gifts with comments about, "Blessed successful family life." I had sat in my small living room looking at their old thank you cards from 2012, wondering when gratitude had turned into entitlement and demands. Now, sitting in the growing darkness, I understood what Robert would have wanted. Not endless enabling but dignity. Not unlimited generosity but respect. Outside my windows, shadows grew longer across my front yard, and somewhere in the distance, a phone started ringing. 4 days passed like watching dominoes fall in slow motion. Tuesday morning brought the first bank notifications to them. Lisa called at 8:45, her voice thin with panic. "Mom, they're saying our house payment bounced. There's a $50 penalty fee. The bank wants $1,950 by tomorrow or they'll start foreclosure proceedings." I said nothing. The silence stretched until she hung up the phone. By noon, Kevin's truck lease company had left 3 voicemails about their missed $450 payment. Lisa's van loan, another $380 monthly, bounced with a $40 penalty. Their homeowner's insurance was cancelled at 2 o'clock when the automatic payment failed. Wednesday brought deeper water. Lisa called again, this time with Kevin yelling in the background. We can't cover everything. Her voice was breaking apart. I applied at Walmart, Target, 2 restaurants. Even if I get hired immediately, they're offering $11 an hour. That's barely $1,800 a month before taxes. For the first time in 12 years, she was doing math on survival. Thursday afternoon, I drove past Sunshine Elementary during pickup time. Bobby and Jenny stood with other children whose tuition payments had gone through successfully. The school had called Lisa that morning. $3,600 due immediately, or the kids would be removed by Monday. That evening, my neighbor Mrs. Chen mentioned hearing loud voices from Lisa's house during her evening walk. Sounds like money troubles, she said sadly. The young man was shouting something about credit cards being completely used up. Friday brought the crescendo. Lisa's fourth call came at 1:15 in the afternoon. Mom, please. I went to 4 job interviews yesterday. Burger King, a cleaning service, a department store. They all want references from recent employers. I haven't worked since 2011. Her voice had lost its demanding tone, replaced by something I hadn't heard in years, humility. Kevin tried to pay the house payment yesterday. Our account has $2,100. The payment is $1,950. He paid it, then realized we couldn't cover utilities, groceries, or gas for the vehicles. He had to call the bank back and cancel the payment. I remained silent. The truck lease company scheduled a repossession for Tuesday. They're taking Kevin's truck unless we pay $450 plus a $150 reinstatement fee. More silence from me. Mom, her voice became very small and scared. I think we're going to lose everything. Yes, I said quietly. You probably will. She started crying then. Deep, painful sobs that reminded me of her childhood scraped knees. But this wasn't childhood drama. This was adult consequences. Saturday morning, I sat in my office reviewing my redirected financial plan. Those monthly payments I had been making would now go toward the Mediterranean cruise Robert, and I had planned before he got sick. The pottery classes, the gardening workshop in Oregon. My phone rang at 10:30. Kevin this time. Listen, we need to talk. We have talked. No, we need to really talk like adults about how we can fix this mess. You mean how I can fix your mess? Long pause. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. At least he was finally being honest. Come over Sunday afternoon, all of you. Bring the children. What should we be ready to discuss? Reality, I said and hung up the phone. Outside my window, the first spring flowers were starting to push through the soil, reaching toward the sun. Tuesday morning, my friend Sarah from the grocery store called with worry in her voice. I heard something concerning yesterday. Kevin was at Murphy's restaurant telling people you abandoned your family without warning. Said you're forcing the kids out of private school because of spite. I set down my teacup slowly. What exactly did he say? Called it financial abandonment of innocent grandchildren. Used a lot of big words to make it sound like you're punishing Lisa for something petty. By Wednesday, Lisa had called my late husband's brother, Uncle Mike. Mike phoned me that afternoon. His voice tight with disapproval. Lisa says you've abandoned them when they need you most. She was crying, said the children don't understand why Grandma doesn't love them anymore. Did she mention the $679,400 I've given them over 12 years? Long silence. What? Almost $700,000, Mike. House payments, car loans, insurance, school tuition, medical bills, vacations. Every month for 12 years. That can't be right. I have documentation for every single penny. The next morning Jenny called me. Her small voice sounded rehearsed and sad. Grandma. Mommy says we might lose our house because you don't want to help us anymore. Did we do something wrong? My heart felt like it was breaking, but I kept my voice gentle. You didn't do anything wrong, sweetheart. Would you like me to pick you up for ice cream this afternoon? Mommy says you might say no to everything now. I never say no to ice cream with my granddaughter. That afternoon at Dairy Dream, Jenny's scripted sadness melted away as she told me about her science project on butterflies. When I dropped her off, Lisa watched from the window with calculating, scheming eyes. Thursday brought a more direct confrontation. Mrs. Peterson, a longtime neighbor, approached me at the pharmacy. "I'm disappointed in you," her voice carried across 2 aisles. "Cutting off your own daughter when she needs you most. What would Robert think?" I faced her calmly. Robert would think 12 years and almost $700,000 was generous enough. Mrs. Peterson's righteous anger stumbled. $700,000. $679,400. House payments, car payments, school tuition, insurance premiums, medical bills, vacation expenses. "Would you like to see the bank records?" Other customers had stopped to listen. Mrs. Peterson's face turned red. Lisa never mentioned. Lisa mentions very little about what she receives, only what she wants. That evening, Sarah called again. Kevin was back at Murphy's tonight. Tried the same story, but Tom Williams was there. Remember Tom from the bank? What did Tom say? He asked how Kevin afforded a $40,000 truck on his delivery salary. When Kevin started making excuses, Tom mentioned he remembered you co-signing the lease. The whole restaurant got quiet real fast. Friday morning brought a call from my old nursing colleague, Janet. Heard some interesting gossip at the coffee shop. Also heard your side from Sarah. Mind if I ask directly? Did you really support them for 12 years? Every month since Robert died. And they never acknowledged it. Last Christmas, Kevin gave a toast about his hard work providing for the family. Lisa posted pictures of their expensive gifts on social media with hashtags about blessed, successful family life. Janet whistled quietly. That's cruel. Friday evening, I was watering my back garden when Mrs. Chen approached from next door. My granddaughter heard something at school pickup today. Parents talking about family drama. She said some people are questioning the story your son-in-law has been telling around town. I continued watering my tomato plants. People have a right to their opinions. She also said you've been very generous to those children over the years. Very generous indeed. I love my grandchildren. Of course you do. That's never been in question. Saturday morning Lisa called. Her voice high-pitched with desperation. People are asking questions, Mom. Uncomfortable questions about money and timelines and proof. You need to stop spreading lies about us. I haven't spread anything, Lisa. I've simply answered questions honestly when asked directly. You're destroying our reputation in this community. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just no longer subsidizing the creation of false ones. The phone line went dead. Sunday arrived with clear skies and the knowledge that by afternoon we would all be sitting in my living room again. But this time the whole community would be watching and listening. The family meeting never happened. By Tuesday morning, reality had other plans. Sarah called me at 7:15. Saw a foreclosure notice posted on Lisa's front door yesterday evening. Big official paper from the county. I set my coffee down carefully. 25 days. They had 25 days to pay $6,100. 2 months of missed house payments plus penalties and legal fees. Wednesday morning brought more changes. Kevin's truck was gone from their driveway, replaced by an 8-year-old Toyota Camry. Mrs. Chen mentioned seeing Kevin at the Toyota dealership looking defeated while Lisa filled out paperwork. The monthly savings must be significant, she observed. That truck lease was probably costing them nearly $800 monthly. Thursday afternoon I stopped by the pharmacy and saw Lisa behind the cash register. She wore a green vest with a name tag, ringing up customers with robotic movements. When Mrs. Martinez approached her lane, Lisa's face flushed bright red. Lisa dear, I didn't know you were working here. Started Tuesday, Lisa replied, not meeting her eyes. Paper or plastic? Her shift ended at 5 o'clock. I watched through the window as she walked to the old Toyota. Her shoulders sagged with exhaustion and embarrassment. That evening Bobby called me. Grandma, Mom and Dad are fighting again. Really loud this time. About what, sweetheart? Money. Dad said Mom's job doesn't pay enough to help. Mom said Dad never made enough either. Then they said mean things about you. What kind of mean things? That you ruined everything on purpose. But then Mom started crying and said maybe they ruined it themselves. Friday morning brought the sound of raised voices from their house during my morning walk. Through the thin walls, I caught pieces of their argument. 6 hours on my feet for nothing. Never appreciated what we had. Your pride got us into this mess. 12 years of handouts and now. The arguing stopped suddenly, replaced by the sound of a door slamming and the Toyota starting up with difficulty. That afternoon, Jenny visited me, her usual happiness replaced by worry. Grandma, why is everything scary now? I settled her at my kitchen table with cookies and milk. What feels scary, sweetheart? Mom's always tired and sad. Dad gets mad about everything. They talk about losing our house. Bobby heard them say we might have to change schools. How do you feel about that? Scared, but also. She hesitated. Also, like maybe they should have said thank you more. Out of the mouths of babes. Saturday evening I was reading in my study when my doorbell rang. Kevin stood on my porch alone. His work confidence completely gone. His usual clean shirt was wrinkled, his hair messy. His face showing exhaustion I'd never seen before. I need to talk to you. Just the two of us, woman to man. I invited him into my living room, the same room where he had demanded I restore payments just 3 weeks ago. He sat heavily in the chair, his hands clasped tightly between his knees. The foreclosure is real. 25 days. Lisa's working 35 hours a week for $11 an hour. After taxes, that's maybe $900 a month. I'm bringing home about $3,200 monthly. The house payment alone is $1,950. He looked up at me with something approaching humility. We can't make it work. Not even close. We never could we? Without you, I mean. No, I said quietly. You never could. I've been thinking about something you said about earning respect versus demanding it. His voice cracked slightly. I never earned anything, did I? The house, the cars, the kids' schools, the vacations. None of it was really mine. What do you want from me, Kevin? I want to know if there's a way back from this. Not back to how things were, but forward to something better. Outside, the street lights were beginning to flicker on as darkness settled over our suburban neighborhood. Sunday afternoon, I was organizing my financial documents when the doorbell rang. Lisa stood on my porch in her green pharmacy vest, her face streaked with tears and exhaustion. Mom, please. We need to talk about Bobby and Jenny. She looked different, smaller somehow. The entitled confidence I'd watched grow over 12 years had crumbled, leaving behind the frightened daughter I remembered from Robert's funeral. I invited her into the living room. She collapsed into the same chair where Kevin had sat the night before, her hands shaking as she pulled off her work name tag. 3 days, she whispered. 3 days until they complete the foreclosure. Bobby keeps asking if we're really going to lose the house. Jenny had nightmares last night about moving to a strange place. What do you want from me, Lisa? I want my children to have stability. I want them to finish the school year with their friends. I want Jenny to sleep through the night without crying about leaving her bedroom. She looked up at me with eyes that held no trace of manipulation, only raw maternal desperation. I've been working 35 hours a week on my feet, ringing up groceries for people who used to be my neighbors. Yesterday, Mrs. Rodriguez came through my line and asked why I was working there. I wanted to crawl under the counter and disappear. But you didn't. No. I smiled and asked paper or plastic because I finally understand what work means, what earning means, what you've been trying to teach us. She wiped her nose with a tissue from her purse. Kevin told me about your conversation last night. He said you asked if there was a way forward. There might be, but it would require big changes from both of you. Tell me. I leaned forward in my chair. I'll pay Bobby and Jenny's school tuition directly to Sunshine Elementary. I'll cover their clothing, medical expenses, sports activities, and art classes. I'll establish college funds for both of them. Lisa's face brightened with the first hope I'd seen in weeks. But, I continued, I won't pay your house payment, car payments, insurance, or any adult lifestyle expenses. You and Kevin will live within your actual means. Period. We can do that. We'll downsize, find a smaller place. There's more. I want public acknowledgement of the 12 years and $679,400 I've provided. I want sincere public apologies for the disrespect and entitlement. I want genuine gratitude, not just when you need something. Lisa's face crumpled. Kevin will never agree to public apologies. His pride. Then his pride is more important than his children's stability. We sat in silence while she processed this reality. What kind of public acknowledgement? A letter to the community newspaper explaining how I've supported your family and thanking me for my generosity. An honest Facebook post about 12 years of financial help. Face-to-face apologies to the people you've lied to over the past 3 weeks. And if we do this, all of it, your children will have educational security and their grandmother's love. You'll have a relationship with me based on honesty and mutual respect. But you'll also have a lifestyle limited by what you and Kevin actually earn. Lisa covered her face with her hands. I don't know if I can convince him. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, the offer expires. She stood slowly, her pharmacy vest wrinkled from the long day. At the door she turned back. Mom, thank you for still caring about Bobby and Jenny. I never stopped caring about any of you, Lisa. I just stopped enabling you. After she drove away in the old Toyota, I sat in my living room watching the evening news, knowing that somewhere across town, a very difficult conversation was about to begin. And sometimes the sweetest justice comes not from punishment, but from transformation. If you enjoyed this story from Grandma Stories, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts about this family situation in the comments below.